Here I am again. Now, when it comes down to this whole flat earth thing, people are going to understand one thing, okay? First, we have to get the scripture, right? As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to flip through my Bible. I'm just going to do this. I had to get Brandon's phone, guys, so you got to excuse me. Okay, so though they climb up to heaven. Amos 9. I knew it was in there, but sometimes it's hard to remember everything when you're covering multiple subjects. So let's just get Amos 9 here. It's right before Obadiah. Okay, let's see what the Most High is talking about here. I think everything he says is very literal. I don't think he's the author of confusion unless you're going to confuse yourselves. So it says here, right? And I saw the Lord standing upon the altar, and he said, smite the lintel of the door, that the posts may shake, and cut them in the head, all of them. And I will slay the last of them with the sword. He that fleeth of them shall not flee away, and he that escapeth of them shall not be delivered. Though they dig into hell, thence will my hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, that means your astronauts know what's up there. Okay, we're going to get footage after footage after footage, because no one has ever showed me proof that they've been to space, that they can go to space, that they can leave Earth's atmosphere. They're not going anywhere. So I'm going to call this one Astro-nots Shattered Dreams. Okay, for you guys that don't get it, you've been lied to. Everything they tell you is a conspiracy theory is actually true. Okay, I learned my lesson calling people conspiracy theorists a while back. I used to use that phrase all the time, but now I've learned if they say conspiracy theory, look into it yourself. Okay, some people are just so lazy, they don't want to do their own research. They look at other people's research. Okay, you have to use your own two eyes. God gave you your own two eyes to use your own two eyes and use your own mind to discern whether things be true or not. And if it be against the scripture, then it's a lie, period. Okay, so it says here, though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. Now let's get this out of the Hebrew concordance. Let's look into these words they were using, right? Because I think everybody agree that sometimes you have to look at the words they were using back then because it was not written in English, right? So you could get a better understanding of this, right? So let's go into Amos 9 here, right? Because we can't be hypocrites and say, oh, he's using this to prove the flat earth, but then you could use it to prove whatever, like a trinity or whatever, right? You can use that to prove what your claims are. So I'm going to do the same thing. So let's see here. It says right here, I just read this, okay? Though they dig into hell, thence shall mine hand take them. I'm showing you that this is the same scripture I read out of there, and I can go to Amos 9 in my Bible and show you it's the same scripture in my Bible, okay? Let's do that because it's going to be no excuses. You can't use any excuses, okay? I'm tired of all the excuses. I'm tired of people, claiming they know it all, right? But they refuse to go and look at the scriptures that's being brought out, okay? Why don't you do that? Didn't it say study to show yourself approved? Well, that's what I did. I studied to show myself approved. That's why he told Job, who is this that darkeneth my counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. Where were you when he laid the foundations of the earth? You wasn't around. So who's going to tell you better than him? Nobody. Okay, so he's telling you in his word. Okay, this is a story, right? This is God's story. This is history of the earth. Everything about this. It means from the time he what? Who created the heavens and the earth. Okay, in the original creation, it says, in the beginning, God created heaven and earth, not man. So why are you taking it from man's account instead of from what is written here? And it also says in my same Bible, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven. And it also says, and God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. That means it's water up above the firmament. What is the firmament? The firmament is the sky. Okay? This is called study. Show yourself approved. So it says here, and God called the firmament heaven. Okay, so now the firmament is heaven. We see that God put, two great lights in the heavens, and, it says here, and he said, let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made two great lights. That's in the scriptures. They're lights. They're not planets. They're not something that you could land on. Okay. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. That's the sun and the moon. So what else is up there that he put in the sky to, separate the day from the night? Okay. And he said, let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, not 93 million miles away, like man tells us. Now let's get this, okay? Getting to the word heaven. It's Hebrew word 8064, okay? Shamayim, okay? And what is it? What does it give reference to? Heaven, 368 times, okay? Astrologers with Hebrew 1895. And what does it say here? Heavens, heaven, sky, the visible heaven, the sky. Oh, well, there you go. You're not getting around it. So now when it says here, right, we know now that heaven is the sky. It says it clearly. We know that the sky in heaven is the firmament. We know that clearly. We know that above that is water and God's throne that sits upon the sea of glass, right? So these are clear understandings, okay? So when people sit here and say, you can't use the Bible, well, I can use the Bible because who created the earth? Okay? Clearly. I'm not going to use mathematicians or scientists. Didn't you know that they were going up against those guys back in the days, the disciples? Let's see here. Let's see about the astrologers, right? Let's look. The astrologers. Watch this, King James Version. Let's see what it brings up in here. Bible verses about astrology. Daniel 5. Look at this. In Daniel 5, right? Let's get into Daniel 5. Since you guys don't know the true history of, King James Version. This is also, the dream of Nebuchadnezzar. But as you read in Ezra, chapter 12, I'm going to show you guys something. This is why they don't want you to touch these books. I'm going to show you something. This is why these books are refuted and were taken out. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the scriptures. We don't hold nothing back when it comes to God's word, whether it be lost books, books that were taken out, and it's clearly stated that they were going to add to and take out. What don't nobody understand? I mean, you're just calling the Bible a lie if you believe otherwise. Okay, right here. Second Esdras, chapter 12. Let's get this out of Revelations 5:5. Let's tie in all the dots, because I'm tired of all the tired of the lies, and I'm tired of people discrediting these lost books, because it's still part of what is supposed to be in the Bible that was taken out. Just because it's not in this Bible right here don't mean it's not validated by this Bible. So who is the lion? Revelations 5:5. And this, you're going to find out something very, you're going to find out something very, very fascinating, that he's supposed to be here in the end days, right? I'm going to read it for you too. Revelations 5, verses 1 through 5. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm reading. We keep it in context around here. The seven sealed books, and I saw in the night in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within, and on the backside sealed with seven seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof?" And no man in heaven, nor in earth, nor neither under the earth was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders said unto me, "Weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the seven seals thereof." Okay, so this is the lion. Now, watch this. I'm going to go back to Daniel 5 in a minute, but we're going to read this first. So then you'll understand, better about Daniel's vision. So it says here, "And it came to pass, whilst the lion spake these words unto the eagle, I saw, and behold, the head that remained and the four wings appeared no more. And there went, and the two went unto it and set themselves up to reign." I would have to read chapter 11 so you guys can understand what the eagle, chapter 10 and 11, so you know what the eagle is all about. But I'm just reading this for up until the point where we get here to the end of this paragraph, right? So, and the two went unto it and set themselves up to reign, and their kingdom was small and full of uproar. And I saw, and behold, they appeared no more, and the whole body of the eagle was burnt, so that the earth was in great fear. Then awaked I out of the trouble of my and trance of my mind, and from great fear, and said unto my spirit, "Lo, this hast thou done unto me, in that thou searchest out the ways of the highest." That means, the Father. "Lo, yet am I weary in mind, and very weak in my spirit, and little strength is there in me, for the great fear wherewith I was affrighted this night. Therefore will I now beseech the highest, that he will comfort me unto the end." So he's talking about the end, the last days, the end of his times, right? And this is what he says right here. And I said, "Lord, that bearest rule, if I have found grace before thy sight, and if I am justified with thee before my many others, if my prayer indeed be come up before thy face, comfort me then, and show me thy servant the interpretation and plain difference of this fearful vision, that thou mayest perfectly comfort my soul. For thou hast judged me worthy to show me the last times." Okay, so he's telling us what is going to be going on in the last days. And you see it happening now It talks about all the fires and all this stuff that's going on right now in our timeline in chapter 5. The fires all over the place. And, I would I'm going to do a whole nother study about, the Esdras prophecy of chapter 5. And I will be showing news to show you exactly what you're experiencing and why these books are important and why they need to be read and why people need to stop discrediting them so the truth can move forward and people could really obtain true salvation by the truth, right? So again, this is the last times, right? Just like Daniel had a vision, right? So we're going to get into Daniel's vision. We're going to read that whole chapter and see how it ties in. Okay. And he said, I need to make sure, I'm trying to get this to where you guys could see it at the same time. Sometimes I might be too close to the, what's his name? And he said unto me, this is the interpretation of the vision. The eagle whom thou sawest come up from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother, who? Daniel. Daniel's vision in Daniel 5. But it was not expounded unto him. Therefore now I declare it unto thee. Behold, the days will come that there shall rise up a kingdom upon the earth, and it shall be fearful above all the kingdoms that were before it. In the same shall 12 kings reign, one after another, whereof the second shall begin to reign and shall have more time than any of the 12. And this do the 12 wings signify which thou sawest. So he's getting the explanation and interpretation of the dreams, right? Now, let's get into Daniel and read this. We might just do a whole interpretation of Daniel's vision with Ezra, right? And tie in the similarities, right? So you guys could know the whole truth and understand why they took these books out the Bible. We're also going to do the same thing with the book of Enoch. Yes, we are, because it's going to stop. So, it says here, Belshazzar, the king, made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords, and drank wine before the 1,000. Belshazzar, whilst he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the golden and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple which was in Jerusalem, that the king and his princes and wives and concubines might drink therein. Then they bought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of the house of God, which was at Jerusalem, and the king and his priests and wives and concubines drank in them. They drank wine and praised the gods, little g's, fallen angels, right, of gold and of silver. You get this out of Enoch, right? You get this out of Enoch when you get who taught man the earthly metals and the art of working them, right? So it all ties in. It all gives you a better understanding when you got all these books and you put it all together. Because some people was told most in all these other prophets, right? And I'm going to go into Enoch in a minute and read that part where he said, no man has seen the things he saw, and not another man will ever see like he did. Okay. So there you have it. He was the man that walked with God and was taken. So why is his story miscredited? Why does it say, oh, it's not supposed to be in there because Rome didn't canon it? Don't you know that Rome took out all the Bible scriptures that were really important so that they could push this whole Trinity thing? Now you got denominations of churches that believe in the Trinity, right? Deceived, right? The whole world's deceived. Revelations 12:9. But people think that's just, just poetic, right? No, that's literal. Just like the lake of fire is literal. Okay, everything in here is literal. This is God telling us a story and people writing it down. In the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. And then the king's countenance was changed, and his thoughts troubled him, so that the joints of his loins were loosed, and his knees smote one against another. The king cried aloud to bring in the astrologers, the Chaldeans, the soothsayers. Right? Let's stop there. Let's see what is a soothsayer. Right? See what a soothsayer is, huh? And then we'll get back into this. So you guys could get the whole meaning, right? Understanding of what these words mean. Soothsayer. Right? Sorry, let me see. I'm pretty sure I spelled that right. Oh, soothe. Okay. Oop. I don't want it. Come on, man. This is a new phone, guys, so you gotta excuse me. Still trying to figure this crap out. I'm so used to my other phone that broke, but you know, it's all good. All right, now let's get into this word, soothsayer. Oh, it's not. Oh, this only occurs one time. You see how inaccurate this is? Let's see lexicon. Hebrew and Aramaic results 3. Okay, so why does it say it's only 1? Well, let's just get what the word soothsayer is. Soothsayer is kasam, right? Soothsayer. To practice divination, divine, of diviners of nations, Balaam, of false prophets of Israel, prohibited. Okay, so there you go. So, you know what a soothsayer is now. Now let's get this. And in the same hour came forth fingers of a handsman and wrote over against. Okay, we wrote that. Read that. The king cried aloud to bring in the astrologers. Yeah, you know, those that look through telescopes. Let's see what they knew back then. Astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. And the king spake and said to the wise men of Babylon, whosoever shall read this writing and show me the interpretation thereof shall be clothed with scarlet and have a chain of gold about his neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom. Then came in all the king's wise men, but they could not read the writing, nor make known to the king the interpretation thereof. So they didn't know nothing. Why? Because they were soothsayers, false prophets. They were astrologers, believing fake space. Yeah, they were back then. And the Chaldeans, right? Here you go. Here it says here, but they could not. Okay, then was King Belshazzar greatly troubled, and his countenance was changed in him, and his lords were astonished. Now the queen, by reason of the words of the king and his lords, came into the banquet house, and the queen spake and said, O king, live forever. Let not thy thoughts trouble thee, nor let thy countenance be changed. There is a man in thy kingdom in whom is the spirit of the holy gods, right? And they use a little g, And in the days of thy father, light and understanding and wisdom, like the wisdom of the gods, was found in him, whom the king Nebuchadnezzar, thy father, the king, I say thy father, made master of the magicians, astrologers, Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. Now let's look up this word astrologers again in the Bible. In the Hebrew concordance, right? See what this word is back then, what they were doing back then. Astrologer. Oops, here you go, astrologers. Get this. They say it occurs 8 times. Isaiah, and here it is, Daniel 2. Let's get it in the context of Daniel 5. Hebrew 8:26. Ashaph. Right? Watch this.
Strong's H.
Oops.
Ashaph.
Let's see. Conjurer, enchanter, necromancer. So they practice necromancy. Isn't that breaking a commandment? So you see why I get my facts out the Bible. Biblical outline usage for astrologer. Look at this, Strong's info. Like that, you go to the Strong's Greek under that number denotes, Greeks and Hebrew words connect with one under consideration. So, yeah, necromancers, right? This is your astro-nots, your astrologers. That's why I don't believe anything they say. Let's see what happened here. So it says here he was given power. He was made master of the magicians, astrologers, Chaldeans, and soothsayers, for as much as an excellent spirit and knowledge and understanding, interpreting of dreams and showing of hard sentences and dissolving of doubts were found in the same Daniel, whom the king named Belshazzar. Now let Daniel be called, and he shall show the interpretation. Then Daniel was brought before then was Daniel brought in before the king, and the king spake and said unto Daniel, Art thou that Daniel, which art the children of the captivity, of Judah? Right? So you better find out who Judah is, whom the king my father brought out of Jewry. Right? He brought him out of Jewry. Right? So they lost their heritage right there. So that again explains that we lost our way. I have heard of thee that the spirit of the gods is in thee, and that light and understanding and excellent wisdom is found in thee. And now the wise men, the astrologers, have been brought before me, and that they should show me this writing and make known unto me the interpretation thereof. But they could not show me the interpretation of the thing. And I heard of thee, and that thou canst make interpretations and dissolve doubts. Now, if thou canst read the writing and make known to me the interpretation thereof, thou shalt be clothed with scarlet and have a chain of gold about thy neck, and thou shalt be the third ruler in the kingdom. Then Daniel answered and said before the king, Let thy gifts be to thyself, and give thy rewards to another. Yet I will read the writing unto the king, and make known to him the interpretation. O thou king, the God the Most High God gave Nebuchadnezzar thy father a kingdom and majesty and glory and honor. And for the majesty that he gave him, all peoples, nations, tongues trembled before and feared before him, whom he would he slew, and whom he would he kept alive, and whom he would he set up, and whom he would he put down. But when his heart was lifted up, and his mind hardened in pride, he was disposed from his kingly throne, and they took his glory from him. And he was driven from the sons of men, and his heart was made like the beasts, and his dwelling was with the wild asses. They fed him with grass like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till he knew that the Most High God ruled in the kingdom of men, and that he appointeth over it whomsoever he will. And thou, his son, O Belshazzar, thou hast humbled thine heart, though thou knewest all this. But hast thou, it says here, and thou, his son, O Belshazzar, hast not humbled thine heart, though thou knewest all this. But hast lifted up thyself against the Lord of heaven, and they have brought the vessels of his house before thee, and thou and thy lords and thy wives and thy concubines have drunk wine in them, and thou hast praised the gods of silver and gold and brass, iron, wood, and stone, which see not, nor hear, nor know, and the God in whose hand thy breath is, and whose are all thy ways, hast thou not glorified. Then was the part of the hand sent from him, and this writing was written. And this is the writing that is written: Mene, mene, tekel, upharsin. This is the interpretation of the thing. Many, God hath numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Tekel, thou art weighed in the balances and art found wanting. Perez, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Then commanded Belshazzar, and they clothed Daniel with scarlet, and put a chain of gold about his neck, and made a proclamation concerning him, that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. In that night Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, slain, and Darius and the Median took the kingdom, being about 62 years old. So he was 62 years old when he took that kingdom. Now let's get into this. So it says here, as for the voice which thou heardest speak, and that thou sawest not go. All right, I'm not going to get into this yet. I'm going to do this in another study. We're going to go into Daniel 5 and Ezra 2, and then Ezra 5. But I want to stay on topic here and just show you guys. I just want to show you guys how these books are tied in. Okay. So now back to this, right? Back to what I was doing. Now, dealing with Amos 9, though they climb up to heaven. We know heaven is the sky. We know the sky is the firmament. And we know there's water above the firmament. Water is blue, just like the sky. Okay? And people say the sky is not actually blue. Well, when you shine light on it, it is blue. Why? Because it's water up there. And the sky ain't going to change no color unless the Most High does it. Okay? Now let's look at these NASA astronauts and see if they actually go to space. We'll get 3 videos.
7.
We'll get 3.
5, 4, 3,
This is something that people are scared to do. Watch the whole video through, right? Because then this is how you break through the lie, right? Let's see if this thing goes to space. Though they climb up to heaven, thence I will bring them down. Remember that. Look at that arc already. That's why they switched the camera view a lot too.
Pounds of hardware and humans taking aim on the international outpost.
Another thing, you seen them just take off. Now, which lie stands up? Is it that you know, right when they took off, you seen the Earth curving? So which one is it? Is it that the curve is too, minute and you can't measure it because the Earth's so massive? Or is it what NASA's showing us in this camera footage that indeed the Earth looks like a ball when they get a few 100,000 feet up? Which one is it? Because I don't see the difference. A lie is a lie. Look at that arc.
6 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center.
Look at that. See that?
Miles an hour.
That's why they leave it like that, so you can think the Earth is a ball. Look at this. This is why they zoom in too, so you don't see the trajectory of the rocket, right? But you're gonna see, right?
55 seconds into the flight, all systems operating normally, 900 miles
see this?
an hour.
Look at this.
Right now, 6 miles
Look at it coming back down. Watch it come back down. It's not going to space. It's going, and it's arcing. Why? Because the dome.
Commander Charlie Hobaugh joined on the flight deck by pilot Butch Wilmore.
His hand is bringing it back down. Look at that. God's not a liar. This is why they zoom in so you can't see where it's going. Look at that. Switch the camera again so you can't see where it's going. Then they switch it again. It's all mind control. Look at that. Zoom in. Make sure you don't get it arcing, guys. Make sure you don't leave that. Make sure you don't show, the plume of smoke arcing in the sky. So keep it zoomed in so we could get everybody to believe our lies. Not the truth in the Bible. This is them disproving God, by the way.
Solid rocket booster separation.
Look at this, rocket booster separation. Going right in the ocean, and then this thing is going to go and land. Right?
Center lane of Highway 129 on
There's your rocket booster separation. See, still in the sky. It's still in the sky. It ain't in no damn space. You see that? See how it's curving and it goes back? Look at that. So which is it? I mean, somebody's lying. I know God's not a liar. These guys are lying. And you need to believe what the Bible says about how God created the earth. While you have NASA playing God with their weather-making machine. And yeah, I'm talking over their garbage. Let's just do this. We don't need to hear those guys talking. Just look, okay? Because I'm going to talk over their garbage. Let's pause it here. So you mean to tell me you can see the curve right there, right? You can see the earth curving, but it doesn't look so minute. I mean, I could tell that's a curve. Clearly could tell. Let's continue on here with the garbage that the world buys. Let's listen to these liars.
Three and a half minutes into the flight, all of Atlantis' systems functioning by the book. 55 miles in altitude, 120 miles downrange, traveling almost 5,000 miles an hour.
5,000 miles an hour. That's phenomenal. I don't see them going nowhere. They ain't even let 5,000 miles an hour. They should have been away from Earth by now. I mean, give me a break.
Atlantis, negative return.
Atlantis, negative return.
Atlantis copies, negative return. Atlantis now turned to the launch site in the event of an engine failure. All three engines performing perfectly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
4 minutes, 20 seconds into the flight, Atlantis now 62 miles in altitude, 180 miles downrange, traveling almost 6,000 miles an hour. All systems performing normally. Atlantis providing cooling.
You don't see nothing else. You just see this right here. You don't see them in space or nothing. They just kept switching the camera. That ain't proof. I don't know. Look at that Earth flattening out. Look.
Enabling the shuttle to...
Let's get this.
Atlantis now beginning.
See, when it gets to the middle of the screen,
to roll to a heads.
Flattens out. Because it's a fisheye GoPro.
Position, the main engine.
Now watch it curve.
Enabling the shuttle to move to a heads-up position above its fuel tank, gaining more favorable communications.
See that sun?
Relay satellite system.
93 million miles away, huh? I guess they went super far that fast. You gotta give me a break.
As it heads uphill.
As it heads uphill.
Atlantis, Presta Miko, single engine Zaragoza 104.
Look at the Earth. Pay attention to the Earth.
Single engine Zaragoza 104.
You see that?
Call from Capcom Chris Ferguson to Commander Charlie Hobaugh, indicating that Atlantis can make.
Which is it? You see a curve, don't you?
Targets in the event of an
Watch this.
Failure.
Go for the pitch.
Watch that curve.
Okay, nominal shutdown. Go for +X. Go for the pitch.
Now 6 minutes 45.
6 minutes 45 seconds.
Seconds left in powered flight.
Watch this curve.
Effective gravity. Atlantis approaching a speed of more than 4 miles a second at the time of 7 minutes 40 seconds.
And that's it. That's all you're gonna get. See that?
Confirmed by the booster office.
Watch that.
It's now in its preliminary orbit.
Now look. Which is it? You see that's flattening out, right? Now look at this. This is the space shuttle here. Why do they got the dang camera attached to the booster rocket? Huh? Don't you think they would have, if they were going to prove that they went to space, they would have it strapped to the spacecraft here? Nah. Let's be smart and put it on the booster rocket that's going to separate from the aircraft. So silly. There you look.
Commander Charlie Hobaugh will now maneuver Atlantis so that cameras embedded in the shuttle's umbilical well can perform photography of the discarded external fuel tank. And Mike Foreman and Leland Melvin are about to use digital still and video cameras to capture handheld imagery of the tank for downlink a few hours.
Look at that. It was just like curving. You could tell the difference.
Now,
if you can't, you're blind. Look at that sun, not 93 million miles away.
Atlantis and
Come on, give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. All right, next. Since everybody, believe this garbage. Yeah. Look at this. Here's an excellent proof here. This is some excellent proof right here. Here you go. The Masons.
T-minus 5 minutes and counting.
Go for order 8.
We have a range clear launch.
And CD.
You notice something? Do you notice something here? It looks as though the Earth is curving. Oh, wait, I thought if you're on the damn Earth, you cannot detect curvature of the Earth. It's too minute. So what's going on here? How is it that they see the, curvature of the Earth over here? Wow. Wow, just wow. Now let's look at this video. These people are mind controlled and they need to break free.
Okay, Scooter, we'll be back here in about
Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Look at this. Look at this. You see, this is a regular camera, and then they switch to the fisheye lens. You see that? You see that? Regular camera, fisheye lens. See that? Flat. But they just showed you that curvature of the Earth, right? Yeah. Look at the rocket, already curving. Everybody's clapping, mind-controlled zombies. Believe your government God, right? Because government is your God now. Look at this. Does this look real? Just take a look at that. That don't look real. I'm sorry. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. Look at this. See that? Look. Hold on, wait a minute. You see this? Wait the heck a minute. They just played a double clip of this people clapping, right? This is NASA. You guys see this? 2010. You seen this, right? Let's go back. Tell me what is up with this? Look at this. Look. We're going to play this. We're going to play this one right here. And we're going to go to this. Look. Look at this crowd. Look at this crowd. I'm going to point somebody out. Look at this guy that stands up with the kid with the purple shirt. Okay? Now, we're going to go back up a little bit. You see what I'm doing? I'm going up. Now, we're going to go back and we're going to go here. Look at this. All they did was play a freaking loop of this crowd. Pay attention. See? Look at it.
Nominal first stage performance.
Cannot fake real. And this is where they're going to cut it, right? Play that music. Going down range. Of course, zoom in on it. So, yeah. And then you see that. Wow. A nice switch over. They just switch over right when it gets all the way up there, right? Let's do this. From 9 years ago, CNN Space Shuttle Challenger explosion. No, it smacked the firmament, blew up. That's what happened.
In part because, as I said, this is the first time that we're going to see a launch from American soil in almost 10 years' time.
Yeah, this is Astro-nots. It's nice to see this come back to U.S. soil, I guess. Just what we're used to. Even nothing still launched into see there.
We just want the action.
SpaceX
fanboys.
SpaceX, I mean, people
The skies have cleared up over.
highly skeptical that happening, and
Let's hear that. Highly skeptical.
Radar, listening to the chance, we went from 50-50, and then it became 70-30, and okay, wait, this is happening, and I have a.
Hey, what's going on here? wait, what's going on here? Right? Remember Red said he doesn't use SpaceX. He doesn't use NASA. Well, SpaceX and NASA are tied in, and guess where they're at? Cape Canaveral, Florida. And watch, I guarantee you, when they reach space, it's gonna be 3:33 p.m. Watch this.
A friend who was there on moving ahead.
You were noting the.
Let's get the launch already.
Part of the system.
Look at that curving the Earth already.
See, as you can, this is.
Oh, here we go. We got action.
Something that kids are looking forward to.
You gotta be kidding me. SpaceX launch set for this afternoon. Falcon 9 rocket set to lift off at 3:22 p.m. You gotta do better. You gotta do better.